All right. So I'm recording now.
Well.
All right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Life List, a birding podcast.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. We're doing something we haven't done in a long time, Alvaro.
What is that, George? What's going on?
Well, we're on a boat.
Oh,
We're on a boat.
I'm on a boat.
We're on a boat.
We're on a boat.
We're on a boat.
I saw a video about this once.
Yeah. We're on a boat in the South Pacific. Currently,
You make it sound warmer than it is.
I know. Well, it is today. Actually, finally was a little bit warm, but yeah, we are in the South Pacific. Currently in the Chatham Islands, and yeah, we're traveling tonight towards the main island, towards the town of Waitangi. Right? Did I say that right? Yeah, Waitangi.
So. Waitangi. Why not Tangi?
Yeah, yeah. When in Chatham Islands, Waitangi. So yeah, we're gonna go visit. We're gonna hit the town tomorrow. We're gonna go look for the magenta petrel on its burrowing grounds. We're gonna visit this conservation area and
Tycho.
the Tycho, yes, and maybe see Chatham Island pigeon.
Yeah, what's the name for that one?
Oh, I forget what the local name for that is. There is a Maori name for that. I think it was pretty easy. I felt like it was kind of like Palila, but I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're also going to hopefully see what they call the gray warbler.
Right. The Jerrygon.
Yes, which is what you and I both thought it was pronounced, how it was pronounced originally, but we were very much incorrect about that.
No.
I think all Americans think it's Jerrygon, but it's actually Gerygone.
Gerygone.
Geryygone. You might think that'd be Jerrygon.
Jerrygon.
But it's not. Yeah. It's Gerygone.
Gone.
Yeah.
It's been gone so long.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we got those birds to look for tomorrow. But you know what? I was just having dinner, chatting with our friends, Mary and Lily, and we were discussing how you spotted the Indian yellow-nosed albatrosses on the nest, and we were like, oh my God, that was this morning. It feels like eons ago.
3 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was wild, man.
Yeah, the times in a space-time continuum, and we crossed the date line. So then it was yesterday, and then the eBird list went nuts because
Our track.
The track. Yeah,
Our track jumped like to the North Pole, right?
Right, and then went all around the world in like 45 minutes. We did like 26,000 miles, and no wonder it feels like yesterday.
I mean, we moved pretty quick, but still, that's man.
Yeah, but Indian yellow-nosed albatross, that was pretty cool because it added another albatross to this, essentially, most of the world's albatrosses that we've seen.
I'm trying to remember, the other day, leaving Campbell Island, was it?
Yeah.
I think we had 9 albatross taxa in one day. I'm going back to the list here because I can't even remember. But it was a lot. Let's say in one day, we had Southern Royal Albatross, Antipodean Albatross, Gibson's Albatross, Light-Mantled Sooty Albatross, Gray-Headed, White-Capped, Salvins, Black-Browed, and Campbell Albatross.
Wow.
That's some albitri.
That's some albitri, and we added, probably another 2, the Indian and then the Snowy. That's been around. I mean, we saw them earlier. Oh, and
plus Bullers
and Northern Royal, right?
and Chatham.
Ooh,
that's a lot.
How many do we have?
I don't know. It's a lot of albatross.
Basically everything on the list.
Yeah, pretty much. We're running out of albitri.
Yeah, to think that the North Atlantic has 0 albatrosses.
Yeah, we are in the land of the albatrosses, really in the water of the albatrosses. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we should let's talk a little bit about today, and then we can zoom out a little bit before we zoom back in. So today,
let's zoom out a little bit more and just sort of say that we are on a tour.
Yes.
Right?
All right,
we're
fair
on
enough.
a tour.
Yeah.
And we're in looking at the birds of the South, like you said, Pacific, but it's really the Subantarctic of New Zealand and Australia. Snuck in Australia.
Just got a little taste of Australia in there.
In fact, for a period of time, the only land bird I have ever seen in Australia, since I have never been to the actual real land version of Australia, was the redpoll.
It's very weird.
That's weird.
It's very strange.
Yeah, redpoll, the introduced redpoll.
Yeah, there's...
And then I got a starling, so now I have 2.
Yeah, that's pretty odd. So yeah, we visited 7 island groups on this cruise through the Subantarctic Islands of New Zealand and Australia. And we started in Queenstown and then took a bus to the town of Bluff, which is frankly not much of a town, really. And then we got on our boat here, the Heritage Adventurer, which is a very well-appointed, very comfortable boat with incredible food. This is
fancy.
Yeah, this is what, my 6th cruise to the Southern Ocean. The food on this cruise is by far the best, I would say. And that is not a shot at the other places. It's just excellent here. So anyway, we're on the boat, and then our first island group we went to was the Snares. And then we went to the Aucklands, and then we went to Macquarie Island, which is the lone Australian territory we visited, or island that we visited. And then we went back to New Zealand, to Campbell Island, and then to the Antipodes, which is the most remote island group of them all that we visited in New Zealand. And then on to the Bounties. Now we're in the Chathams. So that's a lot, but it's sort of a diamond-shaped kind of route we've taken here. Maybe a rhombus, if you will.
And a route, if you will.
Yes.
But, yeah. That's
a rhomboid route that we've taken. With
trapezoidal route.
Yeah, with the southernmost point being Macquarie Island, which is right around the Antarctic convergence, and about 54 degrees south. Now we're up in the Chathams, which is borderline subtropical.
Yeah.
And it's really quite a difference.
And the convergence, for anybody that's never heard of this thing, is where the water shifts to a colder water, and it's really a huge habitat shift. There's a lot of things that are only found south of the convergence and others that are only found to the north. So being near the convergence means that you're really at the edge of the Antarctic realm. So there's some real cold water stuff that shows up. And then here, like t-shirt weather.
Yeah, people are in shorts. People are going around in sandals and shorts and t-shirts today.
Yeah.
It's like 70 degrees.
Although there's been 2 dudes on this trip that seem to wear shorts no matter where they are.
That is true.
Even if it's, Penguinville, and they're there with the shorts. I don't know.
Difficult to explain.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a variety.
Yeah.
It's the
That's
spice
right.
of life.
Takes all kinds. Yeah. Yeah. So, but let's go back to today. I'll maybe detail for folks how we began today.
Well, some people might say that the most in the seabird world, the one site in the world that is recognizable just by its shape alone, and is also important because it's the major, if not, it's actually most, of the entire population of one species of amazing seabirds, the Chatham albatross, is this place called the Pyramid. And the Pyramid is really just like it sounds. It's like a rock. It's like a mountain, like a pyramid sticking out of the ocean. And we were told we're going to drive up on the Pyramid at 10 a.m. or something. And we were sea watching, and then through the fog, we could see this crazy mountain, like a triangle with a big cave in the middle. It's the kind of place where Dr. Evil might live in there.
Totally.
Like something like that,
Looks
or one
very
of those
much like
James Bond guys,
yes.
With gold teeth or something.
Very much like a Bond villain hideout.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But instead, we get albatrosses with golden bills that are
That's right.
that are flying around. And those are the Chatham albatrosses. And what was it again? 5,000?
5,000 pairs.
And that's the world population.
Yeah, all of them nest right there.
There's one rock.
Yeah.
So we essentially come up on this thing, and it's like, for the seabird people, it's like, religious.
It's kind of like Mecca.
Right.
It's like,
it's the kind of place where you know where you are, you know the importance, and it's not easy to get to.
No.
So it all comes together, where, I think we both had to retreat to our rooms and
collect ourselves. Well, it was when it first appeared on the horizon this morning. There was somebody, I think Lily pointed it out first, and then somebody else goes, "Oh wow, it really is a pyramid," And you're like, "Yeah, like one side it's kind of like hollowed out, but depending on which side you see it from, it really looks like a pyramid in the distance." And then as you approach, we start seeing Chatham albatrosses more and more, which is kind of, I would say, an underrated albatross of all the albatrosses. There's some really superbly sexy, beautiful albatrosses. This one is one that kind of flies under the radar a little bit because, you don't see it that much really anywhere. And so we're starting to see those, and that's pretty cool. And we're also seeing some Buller's albatrosses, and that's pretty awesome. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the closer we get, you start seeing flocks of these albatrosses on the water, flocks of 70 or 80, 100 of these albatrosses. And then you get to the pyramid, and they're just swirling in mass all around and especially above the pyramid. And then, of course, the pyramid itself is dotted with nests completely all around it. And then you got the big giant cave in the middle where you've got their, what do they call them, like the smokestack chimney type nests where they're highest inside the cave. I mean, craziness.
Crazy. And there's captains, and this captain we have is an adventurer, and he is interested in the birds and the wildlife. So he takes this ship and he just sort of shuts down the engines to a minimum crawl, and you sneak up right up to the island and essentially sit there looking at it very close, and then kind of go. We did 2 go-rounds.
Yeah.
Right?
2 loops.
2 loops in a clockwise fashion because, that's the best way to do things. I think clockwise, or was it anti-clockwise? Anyway, it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
And it was pretty wild. I think nobody is really prepared for what this place is like. Waves crashing, on it. Pink patches of flowers on the rock.
Yeah, the native ice plant is blooming in bright pink.
Bright pink, and all of the birds there are pit island shags, which are kind of funky, fancy cormorant.
Yeah.
Green face. And white-fronted terns flying around.
A lot like a roseate.
Skuas.
Yeah, the white-fronteds are beautiful, very much like a roseate tern, yeah.
And all of this is sort of going on, and you realize I'm in the beautiful place, like astounding. Even if it had nothing on it, the rock itself would be like, look at that rock.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then you have thousands of birds, a rare bird, and the only place it breeds. I mean, what else can you add to that,
Well, you did add to it. You added Indian yellow-nosed albatross. I couldn't believe that. It's like we were talking about how they're actually, people know that there is a pair that nest there, but people don't see it. Like no one, I don't think anyone has actually seen it on these cruises. And all of a sudden, I hear you yell out, "There's a yellow-nosed albatross up there!" And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. There's 5,000 pairs of albatross nests up there. And you're like, oh yeah, there's a different one.
But it didn't stand out. Actually, it did stand out. I don't know. But the funny thing is that I did not know there was a... So I'm looking at this thing. I'm thinking, hey, hold on. There's a white-headed one in there. And I thought, oh, obviously it must be like a black-browed type that just sat down to rest or something. Then I took a picture, and I'm like, that's a yellow-nosed albatross, And my brain went through all of that. What when you see something you're not supposed to see, it was sort of like, hold on a second, that might be a buller's. No, it's not a buller's. It's a yellow-nosed albatross. Then at that point in time, I mean, this is taking a short amount of time in my brain space. I just sort of started screaming out, there's a yellow-nosed albatross up there. And then I could see everybody sort of like, almost like bumping into each other, going like, what?
Yeah.
Like, did not compute, and even some of the local experts, guides were like, hold on a second here, let's back up, buddy. It was funny. And I got an adrenaline rush, just like when you find a vagrant. I got the big rush.
Yeah.
I love that thing, and it was fun. Then, as you know, because later George spots something else. So, we'll talk about his little parakeet action.
That was fun too, yeah.
But, yeah, that was good. I don't know if I could, like you said, some people worshipped at the pyramids in Egypt or the pyramids in Mexico, or Belize. We worship at the pyramid
of the albatross. Yeah, damn straight, man. Yeah, I mean, that was amazing. And yeah, after that, we took a nice.
Nap? Not nap.
Yeah, did we? Was that today? I can't remember. Was there a little nappy nap? There might have been.
That actually can happen on these tours, believe it or not.
Yeah, well, we were up early too, looking for seabirds, so it's been a very long day. But yeah, we did do a Zodiac cruise around Southeast Island, Rangatira, which is famous as the home to the shore plover, which that's a simple name for a really rare and specialized bird here that's really handsome also. Like it's a really good looking little plover. And we also had our first Chatham oyster catchers. There were Chatham tuis flying around. Some of the, that's a subspecies, but still pretty cool to see.
The tui is what George described it perfectly. He said, that bird looks so weird. It's the kind of bird that you see in a book that is extinct.
Yeah, looks like.
I mean, and this is not making fun of extinct birds.
Right.
But it does look like those things that you see, from Hawaii or wherever that are gone. Yet it's still flying around.
Yeah, and they're abundant.
Yeah, and they had these little weird wispy puffs of white that stick out of the breast.
Yeah, they got one nice little white bow tie kind of thing, and then on the sides, they've got some other wispy white things going on.
And they're pretty big.
Yeah, right? They're sizable, chunky. Yeah.
And they're shiny black with like this stripiness to the hackles, you could call them, like in that. Really weird bird. Like where you see it, you're like, oh, wow.
And they make great sounds too. They make really cool sounds.
Yeah, they sound like Eevees. From Hawaii.
They really make you think of some of the Hawaiian birds in a lot of different ways.
Like old-timey car horns, like beep, beep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
And, I think when you mentioned the Zodiac cruises, we've done a bunch of these Zodiac cruises, and some folks may not know what that is, but in Antarctic trips and in subantarctic trips and in a lot of these ship-based trips, you will adventure ship-based trips, because if you're on a big old cruise liner, they don't have Zodiacs for you to get on. They don't do this kind of thing.
Right.
So, but on adventure type ships, you get
expedition
on
cruise.
Expedition cruises.
Yeah.
Right? You get on a what's it called? Inflatable pontoon kind of boat called Zodiac. You probably know what these things look like, with an outboard motor, and then somebody who's an expert, guide, so on, drives it. But then we take up to like 10 people on each one, and we will go close to shore on a place and look for things, and that's surprisingly good for seeing wildlife.
We have 7 island groups here. We only are allowed to land on 4 of them. 3 we only see via Zodiac cruise, and There was one we did the other day at the Antipodes, and I was like, if we walked, we would not have seen nearly as much as we did end up seeing via Zodiac cruise. So some people think they're like, oh, you don't even land there? And I'm like, yeah, but we Zodiac cruise, and sometimes that's better.
Get great photos from the Zodiacs.
Yeah.
It can be, it's also exciting, like you're on a boat.
Yeah.
A little mini boat.
And sometimes you get
on the big boat.
Some of these seabirds are things typically you're only seeing kind of arcing around at the horizon, and all of a sudden you've got them on the water next to you. You know?
Yeah, or fur seals or elephant seals, what have you. They're right next to you. Zodiac cruising is actually, I know sometimes people think about these trips and say, well, I don't want to be on a Zodiac, or, I don't want to do that. I want to be walking around. You do both. You go and walk around. Sometimes half the ship is doing one thing and the other ship is doing the other. And there is almost every day there's a Zodiac drive cruise somewhere. And they can be, like you say, some of the best.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to switch gears. We should talk about your parakeet at some point, but later let's switch gears and talk about the bounties.
Well, let's just do the one other thing that we finished today here in the Chathams, and tomorrow we have another full day in the Chathams, and we'll probably detail that. But we finished up today doing two things, looking for a couple really, really rare birds that we mostly did not expect to connect with, and we got between Mangaree Island and Little Mangaree Island, which is one of the sites where the very rare black robin still persists. There's just a couple hundred of those. Didn't really expect to see it, did not see it. But then one of the spots is where Forbes parakeet is known to be. And was lucky enough to, we were all sitting there scanning this steep cliff face of Little Mangaree, I guess it was there. And eventually I spotted something that was the right shape and the right size. And luckily we had a bunch of scopes on board and were able to both scope it up and zoom in the photos. And it ended up being, honestly, I think it was very a lifer. Rare. Yeah, it's a really rare bird. And I think it was a lifer for everybody on board except for me, because I actually saw him in 2007, which I don't think anyone else had seen him before, except for our one of the ornithologists on board, who's a local here, Mike, who we hope to have on the podcast soon to talk about some of the conservation work he's done. He would have seen them before, of course, but he lives here in the Chathams, so that's a different story.
He's cheating.
Yeah, that's right. He's cheating. So anyway, that was pretty awesome and exciting, and people were pretty jazzed because we really didn't expect to see that bird necessarily. And then we finished the day hoping to see a tycho, the magenta petrel, which is not a pink or purple petrel, but a brown and white petrel that's very, very rare and breeds only here in the Chathams. But we kind of got socked in by fog, and we were in a really good hot zone area for them to come in. We kind of cruised the waters just off their breeding grounds, but we got sucked in by fog, and we just couldn't see.
No avail.
Yeah, we just couldn't connect there. So we are going to hike in tomorrow to a reserve where there are some burrows, and we might have a chance to see one there. We can detail that later. But yeah, let's go back. Let's go
back in time.
Yeah, let's go back in time.
Here's the back in time music.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't even know we had back in time music. Yeah, that is really something.
Production values.
That's going to break the budget right there.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. And so you do not know what to expect, and there were a couple of things like the pyramid that kind of blew my mind, and many of these islands are pretty big, and they've got like shrubbery or small trees or, greenery or big tufts of grass. But the bounties are just rock. Like just rock. They're kind of rounded. They're not that high. They're really just like a speck of islands. And you go there and it is like bugs on the islands. And the bugs are all Salvin's albatrosses.
And we're talking thousands.
Tens of thousands, right?
Yeah.
and then what, 8,000 penguins or something like that, like the erect crested penguin, which is a pretty fancy double mohawk.
Double mohawk. To me, it's my favorite penguin. Is the erect
favorite penguin?
Yeah, that is my favorite, and it is only on the Bounties and the Antipodes. Yeah, those are the only two islands it breeds on. So if you want to see that, this is the only this route is the only place you'll see it, and they're like wonderful little tubby footballs with a double mohawk.
Double mohawk.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and then there are hundreds of New Zealand fur seals. There are these little birds called prions that are flying around, and here they go to the nests in the day. Usually prions are a seabird that goes into the nest at night. These are fulmar prions. And
another regional specialty. Only breeds in New Zealand, fulmar prion.
Only breeds in New Zealand. And the number of birds, though. Number of birds. And then to think that we went from the Bounties to the Chathams in a day, kind of overnight, and the Salmon's albatross is in one set of islands, and the Chathams in the other set of islands. And just, 15 years ago, they were considered the same species?
And they look completely different.
Look completely different, and they nest in different spots. But the fact that they are so close and one of these albatrosses can go to the colony of the other less than a day, but they don't, right? They stay in their own island because they're different species, right? And that was unclear to people just a decade ago. Seems insane to me now when you see it like this, and you start realizing that every one of these islands here has like a different penguin or a different albatross or some different prion or something. Different shag, which are kinds of, cormorants that, nest, kind of often cliff nesting or rock nesting cormorants. Because these islands were not socked in with the ice back when the last ice ages all happened. So they were here and they were stratified north-south. So you had different water temperatures and different environments. And east-west. So and if you look around the world, there's no place elsewhere in the southern cone, southern hemisphere, southern ocean, where you can see a set of islands that is the same as this. So this is why this is the heart of the seabird world.
Diversity, yes.
Diversity. Because they didn't get frozen over. They have a north-south spread. There are multiple islands, and it's amazing. It really is sort of like evolutionary playground where each island has its own set of things, and it is you can't be prepared so the difference to suddenly see one island has albatross and nest in one way, next island has different albatross and nest in a different way, third one different albatross and that's a different way. It's just crazy.
And the Antipodes is 8 square miles. All of the world's Antipodean albatrosses nest there, at least that subspecies, depending on your taxonomy. The big brown woolly bear, as I like to call them, they all nest there. It also has 2 endemic parakeets.
Mm-hmm.
That just, and they've got like 40,000 pairs. Is it pairs or total? I can't remember. It's pairs or total population, but it's 40,000 minimum erect crested penguins, which is 2/3 of that species population. 8 square miles, and you pack in all those birds, and it's you're talking a huge population of penguins, albatrosses, and then 2 parakeets that are found nowhere else in the world.
It's really neat.
Yeah. A lot of people look at this trip and they think, well, I've done Antarctica, and they see that there's king penguins on this trip, or they see there's rockhopper penguins on this trip, or they see that there's wandering albatrosses, and they think,
seen them, got them.
Yeah, but it's
not like that.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
Yeah. And the other thing too that I found really different is that in some places you have what's the word? It's like the way that the animals are structured or near the trails, like especially Macquarie, you almost are closer to the wildlife. You have to sort of walk at the edge of the ocean, and the penguins kind of move out of your way as they're coming in.
There's so much wildlife there.
There's so much wildlife and it's an official trail for the visitors. You're not sort of cutting through the colony or anything. Don't get me wrong, but it really is like these places are visited way less.
Almost nobody. I mean, this route we've seen 0 other ships. Yeah. This is a 17-day route. We haven't seen a single other ship. The only other people we've seen are researchers, are biologists. Right. And we've seen like 6 of those people?
Yeah.
Like 2 of them we didn't even converse with because they were walking around on the Antipodes Island. I mean, this is a remote wilderness.
And in Macquarie, the Australian researchers and so forth all had to wear masks because they're so far away from anything. Even though, we're keeping people safe on this trip, what have you. We're just a risk. Like everything is a risk to them. So they mask up and they kind of stay a little further away from you. They'll chat with you, let you know what's going on, but they've got to be there for months and stay healthy. So I thought like it is sort of like going to the moon. You're like putting on your spacesuit.
Macquarie,
so you don't contaminate the moon people.
Yeah. Macquarie is kind of the most extreme in some ways because it's the furthest south, it's the coldest. It's got they used to say about it that it had the most penguins nesting on it of any island in the world. I don't know if that's still true, but it's over 2 million royal penguins, and we're well into 6 figures of king penguins, plus there's good numbers of rockhopper penguins as well. I think there's even a 4th penguin that nests there. There's gentoos that nest there in small numbers. And
gentoos.
Yeah, exactly. They look different, but there is a research base there that I believe I think they said it has 25 people there. And those folks, most of them, I think there's a few seasonal positions that are like 6 months, but most of them are longer than that, a year or so. Once you get down there, you're there, and you're aside from your human companions at the biological station, your companions are, fur seals and elephant seals and penguins and giant petrels and brown skuas, and that's about it.
Yeah. And on that island, in another spot that we went to, Sandy Bay, you get out and it's full of elephant seals. But if you think of those big old huge males, sort of scary with the big elephant nose, they're gone. They finished their breeding, so there's a few young males, but mostly these little pups called weaners because they've been weaned, or their mom's gone. They're just sitting there.
They actually look like sausages.
They look like sausages.
Yeah, but they're called weaners because they've been weaning. Yeah,
and they're babies, right? And they're mammals, so they're curious. And like you start walking around, or you sit there and start photographing penguins, and they'll come up to you.
Yeah,
and just start kind of poking you with their nose, like they put their nose on your leg.
They're so curious.
Yeah,
and they've got these huge, big doe eyes. They look so like.
Yeah, we've been trained as scientists not to think an animal is cute.
Not to anthropomorphize too much. But
those things are cute.
I saw one of the researchers at Macquarie was basically letting one of the wiener elephant seals basically kind of taste his glove while he was wearing it. He was like, he had knelt down to do something, and this wiener seal, like, kind of, they kind of undulate up to you, because that's how they move, and it was kind of just like lightly tasting and chewing his hand.
And the rule is that you stay away from the animals, but there are so many the rule is like if they come to you,
5 meters you're supposed to keep, but they don't obey that rule.
Yeah, you could try to get out of the way, but often there's another wiener on the other side.
Yeah, and
you're just like cornered, and you sit there, and the researchers sort of go, well, there's so much wildlife that you can't get out of the way.
King penguins are quite curious as well.
Yeah, they come up to you, and everybody was pretty good about not ever letting the penguins touch anything of ours, but they're, a foot away. It's like...
So, yeah, you were saying that the wiener elephant seals are curious and cute and cuddly, and you almost want to curl up with them, except that they really stink, and you're really not allowed to do that. And the king penguins are quite curious, and we managed to keep our distance. On Enderby Island, we encountered...
George's favorite.
Really distinctly not my favorite. The Hooker's sea lion, I guess also known as the New Zealand sea lion,
right.
But it was also named for Joseph Hooker. It was
what did
about...
he do for a job?
Yeah. Well, that was one of one of the ladies on our trip was saying, George, you really got a problem with the hookers. And she was talking about the sea lions, and she was very definitely making a joke. But it is true that...
They do hate George.
They seem to really dislike me.
I think because he's got such macho...
that's
kind
what
of
it is.
Energy, that's what's going on. Yeah. And they're all young males, right?
This is true. They call them SAMs, sub-adult males.
SAMs. And they come at you, and like our head here, the expedition leader said, it's a bluff charge. At least that's what we hope.
Because it doesn't feel like one.
Right, because they will charge you, at moderate speed, and you're supposed to put out a pack or a stick, or a tripod,
pack, like a backpack is how you're supposed to kind of like.
And in theory, they shouldn't touch you. Like they'll stay just behind whatever you put in front of them. But what is it? 500 pounds of animal coming at you with teeth about the size of a hyena?
And to me, like of all the eared seals, the Hooker sea lions, the New Zealand sea lions, the head is sort of like a pit bull. Mm-hmm. It's like they've got this very full, big head. Like I find fur seals, having spent a good amount of time around northern fur seals and the Pribilofs, these guys freak me out. These Hooker sea lions. And we were birding around, and we were enjoying seeing red-crowned parakeets this is in the Auckland Islands. We had New Zealand falcon ripping around and terrorizing the parakeets and the pipits, presumably New Zealand pipits, and and we got to see the Auckland Island flightless teal there, which was awesome. But we were kind
flightless ducks.
Yeah, flightless ducks, really weird. And yellow-eyed penguins, right, which is on the cover of our bird list. It's such a special bird. Those were there. But we wanted to see this snipe, too, which is the subantarctic snipe.
Hard to find, right? And, and they're a different kind of snipe. They're different genus. They're small. They're odd. They'll fly very much.
They really don't like to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we finally found one, and it was basically at our feet and pretty much refused to fly. And so we were kind of enjoying that. And then they'd warned us that there were these two young male Hooker sea lions, and I see these things coming up, and everybody's glued to the snipe spot, and I was like, oh man, we were like, we gotta get people out of here.
George took charge. George took charge because he has experience. He got his tripod, and he starts fending them off like a bullfighter.
like a toreador.
And if only had the little short jacket, he would have had the entire outfit there. But everybody sort of sees the snipe and they start leaving because meanwhile there's a point where George is the only one left, and he's just sitting there.
Well, I was like, I saw these things coming,
like trying to
bluff
charge
him. And I was like, wow, we got everybody over on one side, a bunch of people on my other side. Meanwhile, there's two. I was like, these two sea lions are going to come right in the middle, like a pincher movement.
Yeah,
and they're going to divide our phalanx.
Right.
And I was like, we got to get out of here. And man. And eventually, and people wouldn't leave the snipe at first. I was like, guys, we got to go. And
but but I need to see the snipe. I said, well, you can see the snipe.
Too late.
See it now.
Yeah. Well, we got to go. Yeah.
And George came back to the cabin after the Zodiac, back to the boat, and he's like, I don't like those sea lions. I do not like those sea lions. I do not like those sea lions. I'm stressed. I do not like those sea lions.
I was so relieved.
And yet everybody else on the tour had a great time. Because George,
I was getting mad.
Safe.
Like people are like filming me, like with trying to like keep these things from biting the group, and I'm like, if you guys would just go, then I could go, and I wouldn't be.
I would have to save your lives.
Oh God, I really don't like those things. Like, yeah. They're not my favorite.
I think an umbrella would be perfect.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Like a big pink umbrella.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, at one point, one made contact with my tripod. Like, there was, for a while, you're just kind of you kind of create a space where they, like, oh, there's something happening, I don't want to get any closer. But then there was that one that was really pretty super aggressive, and he actually took a bite on my tripod. But, yeah, I'm glad we moved past that point of the trip.
Yeah. So, we've all... each one of us is putting in $5 for George's therapy sessions. As he goes home, he really needs to sort of talk through some of these issues about Hooker sea lion and what. I
had a big glass of wine at lunch that day. I was like, good Lord, I just need to unwind a little bit here.
Yeah, I had a great time. I didn't feel in danger whatsoever. I don't know. I mean,
yeah. I enjoyed the Zodiac cruise a lot more, where we got to enjoy some more nice, close Auckland Island teal. Some of the Auckland shags were breeding and looking pretty spectacular, actually.
Yeah, those were good.
Yeah.
Good-looking things. And two flightless ducks on this trip. They're similar, but different species. And I got to say that some of these species that we see here are so rare that they're only known from a few hundred individuals.
Yeah.
That parakeet today, that the Forbes / Chatham Island parakeet is one of them. The teals also in
particularly the Campbell Islands.
Island teal, in very small numbers. We did not see the black robin, but again, like tiny numbers. I could go on with multiple of these words. But the thing that I think is really interesting is that George has been here now for the third time, and he has told me, you know what? Like back when I started, some of these things were way rarer than they are today.
Yeah.
So it's like a success story what's going on here. Maybe later, if we can talk to Mike on a different episode, he can tell us about some of the work that the locals did, and then with international help and other things, to sometimes move creatures from one place that was difficult for them to a better place, and also to eradicate introduced vermin that were killing or destroying habitat, rats, mice, goats, sheep, rabbits, cats, you name it.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
And they've done, New Zealand's perhaps the most successful at safeguarding islands. The people here have just devoted their time to doing this, and so we see some very rare birds, but each year there's more of them.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing.
Campbell Island teal is a good example as well. The last time I was here, that was virtually an impossible bird to see, and almost everybody in our group saw that bird and saw it really well. It took some effort because the weather was a challenge that day, but that's a good example, and there's even others. But, Al, I think there was two island groups. One that you mentioned was the Bounties, which was particularly spectacular. Just because it's so bleak, right? It's just rocks. There's like a little bit of scurvy grass growing, but otherwise,
Scurvy. Yeah. That gives you an idea, it's not, luxurious grass. It's scurvy grass,
Yeah. And this is a part of the world that not in recent times, but like in the, 17th, 18th century, there was a good number of shipwrecks around because of these remote islands. And man, like some of these islands, you think, yeah, I could make a decent living here if I had to. But the Bounty Islands is not one of those spots. If you ended up out there stranded, that it's just rocks and birds, and man, it's beautiful in a way, but it's a stark, bleak beauty. Mm-hmm. What I think was maybe my favorite visit of the whole trip this time was an island group I really didn't even remember particularly well from my 2 prior visits here, and that was the Antipodes. Mm-hmm. And we started out that day socked in fog, mist, pouring rain, and by the end of the day, we'd seen it in all sorts of different lights, and it was sunny by the end of the day, and it was just an incredible time there. Yeah. We did a big barbecue lunch out on the back deck, and it was still kind of raining then. We were covered for it, so we could enjoy it with the mist kind of enshrouding the top of the island. We got to see this crazy cloudscape. I mean, people literally were going to their rooms to just like collect themselves. They're like, the sheer beauty of this place is incredible. Forget the fact that there's birds all around and mm-hmm. seals. And that was the one place we actually saw a lot of subantarctic fur seals, which is maybe the showiest of the seals here. But we got a wonderful Zodiac ride there where we did get to see the Antipodes parakeet, which is of these Cyanoramphus parakeets. That's the biggest one. It's kind of a brute. They can be pretty aggressive, I gather, not just towards other parakeets, but I think to the other smaller birds around on the island. We got to see that. We got to see the Reischek's parakeet, and these caves that we went in and out of where these prions were not even exactly sure what those prions were at that island. In theory, they ought to be Fulmar prions, but hard to say that what was going on there. But that was just between the weather, the birds, the parakeets, the Antipodean albatrosses, going and coming from the island, and it seemed like everywhere you turned there were light-mantled sooty albatrosses doing their courtship flights where they do these synchronized flights. The males follow the females, and they just do these perfect mimicry of each other's flight, and it's just these tandem flights that they do are incredible. And then they give these bugling wail calls where they kind of wail. It sort of sounds like somebody falling off a cliff or something, I guess. But it couldn't really have been more dramatic that particular day.
That was pretty good. That was really good. And these parakeets too, like the fact that you're seeing parakeets and penguins on the same, minute
doesn't compute.
Yeah. And what we figured out, in a sense, is that parakeets have taken over the niche of finches.
That was a really interesting idea you suggested, and I was like, yes, that makes sense, right? They're tearing into the buds of the various plants, and we haven't even really talked much about the plant life here, but these megaherbs everywhere are something people should look up. They're specific to this region. There hasn't been a whole lot in bloom here, but we have seen the Anisotome latifolia, the bulbinella.
Look at you.
Yeah, the Ross lily, as it's called, and I believe the other one's called the Auckland Island carrot, and it is entirely edible, apparently.
Jane Fonda, wasn't she bulbinella?
No, that was her.
That was her. Okay.
Yeah, I mean those two were in bloom, and the Anisotome is a beautiful pink plant. Mm-hmm. The bulbinella makes sense because it looks like a yellow light bulb sticking up, and those are crazy. But that was a really interesting point I thought you made about the parakeets, is that basically they're fulfilling the role of the finches, more or less, the niche.
Because these islands don't have every critter, right? So whoever got here figured out what was available, kind of adapted to it. Parakeets have done super well. Pipits are very tame and large.
Really weird, yeah.
And these snipe that are hard to see.
Basically flightless.
Yeah, they're almost like little kiwis. In a sense,
like that's exactly what they remind me of.
Yeah. No Kiwis on these islands. You've got to be in the main New Zealand area. And we haven't even talked about that, too, that we spent a couple of days in the main New Zealand area. We'll actually talk in more detail about what we did in the North Island, but where we started from, this Queenstown spot. What a amazing,
gorgeous town,
mountain town. Oh yeah, like, it's apparently the capital for outdoor recreation and adventure tourism, in the world. They say. I mean, I don't know if it's in the world, but
it's a bold statement. But I mean, they back it up with some pretty good adventure options there for people that are into that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's just a great place. Lots of great, restaurants, and we even had some ramen. Some ramen.
Yeah.
And it was really good.
Oh, man.
Really, really good.
Making me crave more of that right now.
I know. New Zealand's definitely a place that seems so far away, yet it has a lot of things going for it, for the traveler. First of all, they speak English. Not always easy to understand, but they do speak English. There are multiple flights from multiple U.S. cities daily and so forth. It's also, when it's winter up north, it's summer down here.
Yeah.
So that's, you can kind of then have a second summer, and
it's scenic as hell.
Scenic, very orderly and clean. Just a fantastic place.
Yeah.
And we are hoping, too, to come back in 2 years.
Yep.
The dates aren't set yet from the ship, but we're going to do this again. And this was my first time. We haven't finished yet.
Yeah, got a few more days here.
And I am blown away. Like, this is crazy. And I think a lot the people, everybody here is just essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
There are days where it's cold. There are days where it rains. There are days that are sunny. Each island's different. And the variety, I think, is what also has stunned people. And the pelagic birding that, between islands, where anything could show up sometimes.
Yeah.
Anything. And sometimes thousands of birds. We started with sooty shearwaters.
Oh, my God.
In masses. I mean, you almost forget. That was, over a week ago. But
how many did we put down on the list? I forget. It was five figures. It was well into five figures. I mean, it was many, many thousands.
Yeah. And it's just a place of abundance. And actually, for marine wildlife diversity, we've started seeing a few whales here and there. Hopefully the next couple of days we're going to see some more. Also killer whales, orcas.
Yeah.
We saw them at Macquarie, and it's a special group, sort of a unique set of animals that lives there, eating sea lions and fur seals, and I guess it's more fur seals and elephant seals down there. But it's just, I mean, if you've been to Antarctica, South Georgia, and you thought that was a great trip, this one is like, it adds to that. It complements it in a way that you feel like, wow, I'm not repeating anything, but I'm getting similar feelings and thoughts about going to places where wildlife rules.
Yeah.
Like humans do not rule here. Wildlife rules.
Yeah. The remoteness and the abundance of wildlife and the animals that you get to see here that you would never really ever have a chance to see otherwise. Or if you see them, you're seeing, you were saying even that like some of these albatrosses we're seeing here, you get to see them in their juvenile, immature, subadult plumages. Here we're seeing, a lot of these albatrosses in incredible abundance. Remember, like
adults,
and like 4 islands ago or something, we were we finished at Campbell Island, and we went around the north side. We did a hike all around Campbell Island. We got soaked. That was one thing. We got really wet that day because it was raining.
I had a good jacket though. I had saved my old Big Yellow.
Oh yeah, you had Big Yellow.
Yellow.
Yeah, I got soaked, and I had to come back. But remember, we finished that day doing a loop around the islands, the north end of Campbell Island, We started that day. Sorry, that was right. We started the beginning of that day, and there was a huge Campbell Island albatross colony. And I asked you, I was like, Al, is this the most albatrosses you've ever seen before? Because I think we estimated about 8,000, maybe 10,000.
Yeah, 10,000. Let's something like that. Yeah,
10,000 Campbell albatrosses. There's a good number of gray-headed albatrosses nesting there as well, but they were probably less than 5% or something of what we were seeing. And you were like, actually, Steeple Rock in
Steeple Jason,
in the Falklands, is a huge albatross black-browed colony. And since then, we've seen the Bounty Islands, which had we estimated something like 18,000 salvins, and then that was before we left the island, and we had hundreds, if not thousands, trailing the boat for hours afterwards. And we then got to Pyramid, which we described today, which had, I don't know, thousands. Yeah. I mean, it's just nuts.
It's actually superb. I mean, if anybody wonders about we talked about getting cold or wet, and there's weather. You can have rain, and you can have these wind up in the deck. There's often a good place to sort of shelter from wind if we're traveling to see the birds. It's sometimes a challenge getting in and out of the zodiacs. There's definitely an adventure travel deal going on, but there's also a hot tub.
A lot of comfort. Yeah. There's a nice hot tub. A lot of people hit the hot tub after the day.
And massage.
Yeah, people get massages. Yeah.
And the food is amazing.
Yeah.
So you really feel like you really did something like crazy awesome, and then sometimes you're sort of thinking, wow, I never thought I'd be able to do that in my life.
Yeah.
Jump off a boat onto the beach.
You've even hit the gym a couple times between.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then you get pampered by these like great folks that run the ship. Heritage Expedition does a fantastic job, and they have a crew from multiple nations. The guides here have been fantastic. The food, as I was alluding to, has been great, and also the guides have different expertise. Like from geology to human history to botany to birds. Paleontology. So you get talks also on the way between islands in order to sort of refresh or learn about what we're about to see. This trip is billed as birding, down under. So birding is actually the number one focus, which is not what you always get on cruises that are nature cruises. So this is definitely a unique one in the world. So I've been blown away. I've been in a lot of places. You guys know we talk about this stuff. I've just, today was like essentially a religious experience. I never thought I'd see the freaking pyramid.
I know. Yeah, Pyramid Rock, the pyramid, whatever you want to call it. It's like, man, that place is really, really different. Yeah, we celebrated 2 birthdays yesterday as well, which was fun. Our friends Mike and Gavin both had the same birthday, both living in the Atlanta area. That was fun.
And they had their birthdays, and then we crossed the date line.
It's their birthday again.
Then they had a birthday again in the U.S., I guess, or something in the Western Hemisphere.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Al, we are coming up on the hour, man, and we
fast.
Yeah, we got a full day tomorrow. So.
Yeah. Of what, like eating and
seabirding and looking,
going to the hot tub.
Yeah, hitting the hot tub. We got to look for Chatham Island tui and the gerigony and the pigeon and then we got to
oyster catcher. Oh yeah, we have to go and have the local fish and chips.
Yes, the blue cod, right?
Right, because this is the first place we're going to that has a village, a town. So we're back in the mean streets. We're gonna Chatham Island.
We're gonna paint Waitangi red tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah. They apparently have local beer.
Yeah, breezy beer.
Breezy beer.
Yeah, we're gonna sample that for sure.
And I'm excited because Mike said he's told the folks at the Tycho station to find some wettas. Wettas are big old flightless crickets that live in New Zealand. There's some giant wettas. We're not going to see the giants, but I'm hoping they actually found some that we can see.
Not to be confused with wekas, which are the rails birds.
Yeah,
that are
or
here.
Wackos, which is us.
Yeah, that's us. That's a whole different thing entirely.
Right,
yeah.
Wekas,
Wekas
and Wackos. That would be the name of the tour, I think. For next time.
Yeah, hopefully the wettas might be not the main draw, but who knows? Each to their own. Each to their own. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, well, thanks everybody for listening, and we will be back again real soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.